Hey everybody, how's it going? Can you guys hear and see me? I'm just looking on my phone, cheating here to look at stuff. Hey Gwen Bro Cowgirl Homestead, hope you're doing well. Hope you're okay. Saw you were taking some Tylenol. Hey Lisa Clovey, thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. Hey Holman's Homestead, hope you guys are feeling better. Gosh, you guys had quite the stuff, yuck going through your house and your family. Thanks, everybody. Hey, Jamie, Jamie's Country Living. Hope you're doing well. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate the feedback. Just wanted to make sure. I'm always moving around the house, as you know, lately. I'm out here by my maters. Hey, Blue Collar Homestead. Hey, Milk and Honey Heritage Farms. Welcome. Let me see if I can bring you over. Okay, hold on. Holman's Homestead. Think we're on the mend. Thank goodness. And I know you tagged me in your video. Here's the ironic thing. You posted your video, I think, this morning, and the tag came through this afternoon. I started watching it, and then a squirrel passed by. You know how that goes. So I will watch that tonight. Thanks, Jamie, for the reminder. So okay, I'm back. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, they look awesome. They're doing great. They are sucking up water like nobody's business because they are so large. They are like exactly what I want to be able to put out is put out like nursery starts, if that makes sense. I want them that big when they go out so they are ready to blossom. They get a little bit of, adjustment period, but then boom, they blossom. So that's really, really cool. The pink light. Yeah, it's just so funny. I love it. I love it. And I got the seed snails done, so I'm hoping to have a video on that. I'm going to have to do a voiceover for it, so it'll take a little longer for me for part of it because I did it outside and it was really, really windy. I got our other seeds planted, and I'll have more this weekend because I'll tell you why in a minute. We're going to have plenty of time. But we're about 8 weeks out from last frost. Regardless of what zone we are, we know that 8 weeks from now we can have the potential for frost. So I get them started. But the seed snails, I planted the same things in them as I did in my regular trays. So we'll see how it goes. So last weekend we had 11 inches of snow, but it was calm, no wind. It wasn't really cold. It was just nice snowy weather. Past 4 days, it has melted and it's been absolutely gorgeous out. The snow is gone except for some plow piles. Guess what's coming this weekend? 12 to 18 inches of snow forecasted, starting out as rain, but then the temps are going to drop. And 45-mile-an-hour gusts of wind. But it won't be too cold. We actually disconnected the pig waterers, the 2 pig waterers, because it's supposed to go above freezing during the day. So it'll only be thin ice at night. But insane. But you know what? This is what replenishes our well. This is what replenishes the moisture. This is what keeps us safe from wildfires is all the moisture. And honestly, if we would have got this in December, it would have been here until now. And so thankfully we didn't. So to have 11 inches and it's already gone by today, it's pretty incredible. Let me go back in the chat. Spring in South Dakota, ladies. Spring in South Dakota. That's what it's like, you guys. I want to see if I missed anybody. So I said hello to Heather, Jamie, Blue Collar. Nice, Jamie. Trying a few plants next week. Yeah. Oh gosh, Holmans, I know it. Well, I look at it this way. We just changed out the water for the pigs. In the winter, I try to do it every other day. And then the alternating days, I add water from buckets. If it's clean, if it's muddy, that's different. But if it's going to start out as rain and then snow, they just don't drink as much. So they'll be in their barns. So it's crazy. Blue Collar Homestead started our seeds about 2 weeks ago, planting first weekend of May. That's awesome. Yeah, ew on the wind, but yes, the moisture is vital. Absolutely. Hey, Robert Castleberry. Hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. So I want to wait and see if more people come in, because if you were here last week, we have Carla had come on and wanted to talk about a cookbook. So stay tuned for that. And if you have to run, let me know. I can always switch topics to that. But for the folks watching the replay and for folks in the chat or folks who are watching, I want to talk about seed starting. You know how we did the tomatoes and we gave all the tips for our zone? And zone is really just a guideline. It's just a way to give an idea of where you are, so what works for you. We all know that we used to be 4B. Now they designated us 5A, and that is inaccurate in my opinion, because here comes the snow. So I really want to get into, and feel free to type these in the chat, what your zone is, and the when, how, why, what, where, and the needs of starting seeds are. And of course, I'll share them on screen, but I really would love to get all this feedback, because I think it's really helpful for people to figure stuff out. If I followed the guidelines for our zone, we probably wouldn't get tomatoes, because I followed it. The first year we were here, 6 to 8 weeks out, we started our tomatoes. And guess what? We had green tomatoes on the vine September 10th or 11th, and it snowed. We had probably about 8 inches of snow, which is not typical, but it happens. And we lost all of those tomatoes. Not one tomato that year. Hey, Deborah Rusignolo, good to see you here. So by me starting them in February, along with peppers, if I was doing peppers this year, we have learned that we now get blossoms on our tomatoes at the end of June or at the earliest in July, compared to having the vegetable on the vine so late. Right? So, yeah, exactly. Zone is just a guideline of frost dates and stuff like that. So that's why I want these tips, because I think it's really important. So my tip is if you're in a short climate season, a cold climate season, and you're at a higher elevation, definitely start the hot, humid plants earlier. If you don't have hot and humidity for those plants that love it, you might want to get a greenhouse or get a row cover or something for them. So let me just go to the chat, because you guys are putting in great ideas and I appreciate it. And also let me know, do you like this kind of live? Because I'm trying to do things differently so that way we can share things out with other people and share from our experiences, so we can help other people be successful and not make the same learning mistakes or learning curves that we had to go through. So let me know that as well. Thank you, Jamie. That's very kind of you to share me out. Thank you. Lisa Colovi, thanks for moderating. I appreciate you. So Gwen has everything planted, now just waiting for things to pop up and watering when needed. Awesome. And Deborah is here. I said hello to you, Deborah. We're glad you're here. Milk and Honey Heritage Farms is Zone 8B, last frost April 30th, Northwest Oregon. Robert Castleberry is Zone 7B. Like Gwen said earlier, zone doesn't really matter. It's your average last frost date and first frost date. Plant seed 6 weeks or so before last frost date. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was referring to. If I planted seed 6 weeks ahead of time, my tomatoes would not do much at all. So that's, I think that was really crucial for us to learn. Other places it works wonders. Jamie's Country Living is 7B in Maryland. Awesome. Blue Collar starts their own tomato seeds because if you had to buy 135 tomato plants, the price would be ridiculous. Save lots of money starting our own. Exactly. Big money saver, especially if you're doing volume. That's wild. I had more tomato plants than you germinated. I had to give them away though because I had no place for them. I know you guys plant tons, but it made me giggle because I'm like, you're planting 135. I had 154. So I'm glad they went to good homes though. Super excited. I'm like the tomato dealer in the parking lot. 10A, South Florida for Deborah. That's wonderful. Hey, Ariella, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Heather at Milk and Honey says, I'm West Coast and I know East Coast has the same zone as me, but the last frost is different and it's less humid where I am. Great points. Great points. When we were East Coast in Connecticut and North Carolina, we could just throw seeds out there and they would just take off. They would just take off. The ground was so fertile. It's not the same here. In fact, I posted on Instagram, we just tilled in our soil again. The ground was still frozen. I think we did it yesterday. But the soil looks amazing compared to the first year we were here because our soil gets kind of like caked over and it gets hydrophobic. So we added some peat to it. We added some chicken manure. We added a ton of stuff. And don't come after me for the peat stuff, peat moss. Milk. So Broke Cowgirl is zone 8B to 9, and our last frost date is March 11th. Yep. So ours, we've seen it. We've seen it go into the first week of June, actually after, I think as late as June 10th, we've seen it. Plus we get hail at that time. So it's really hard with new plants and the hail coming down. Some of you have been here for a really long time, and you might remember when I had a live where we had golf ball size hail coming down, and I had to stop the live because I had to go check on everybody. It's crazy. It is weird, Heather. It's totally weird. Let me catch up on comments here. So Holman's Homestead is considered both 6B and 7A. They're somewhere between those. Makes sense. We are in a microclimate. So our county and our town both are microclimates. Multiple different ones, I should say. So if you leave our house and you come out of the mountains, you're in the plains and there's a lot more wind. There's a lot more heat. And stuff like that. But because we're in the mountains, we don't get the extreme heat. I mean, we get hot, but like Edgemont, South Dakota is an hour south of us or so. And I've been down there where we've opened the car door and it was hot and dry. Jamie said we planted last year, the middle of April. Awesome. You guys are giving good information. We are up in the mountains and it will frost and go down the road 5 miles from us and no frost. Exactly. And I'm familiar with the general region you're in because where we were in North Carolina, we were in Western North Carolina. So we probably drove past your town. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, weather is really unpredictable, changes a lot. Zone 7A by us, last frost date is mid-April, but we've had late frost, late April. So we plant first weekend of May. No way we can cover our entire garden to protect it from frost. Exactly. We have to cover ours from hail. I was telling Gwen the other day, and I hate to say it, but it's true. It's a matter of time before hail does something to one of our greenhouses. That's the sad truth. I will hate it. I think that the mobile one will hold up. I don't think the cheaper one will. So we'll see how it goes. So we talked about starting seeds about 6 to 8 weeks before planting. Everybody agree on that? And then we also talked about, why? Because if you're planting in volume, right, you're going to be able to save money because starts are expensive. Especially when you're buying the brand name ones, like Proven Winners and some of those other ones that the names are escaping me, but like you go to the hardware store, you go to the nursery, and they have the fancy cups with the brand on it. Those tend to be a lot more money, I've noticed. So hello, lovely at the Cow Emporium. We love you, Annette. Thank you. No worries about your trashy Wi-Fi. Tell it to behave and start acting like a lady. Thank you, friend. So let's talk about hubby wants better boy. We can't find them. Oh. Anybody near Maryland that has an idea of who might have better boys? So if you know, just tag Jamie's Country Living in the chat. So let's also talk a little bit about what are some of the things. Oh, wait a minute. 6 to 8 weeks, yes. I don't fertilize anything until they get their first true leaves. Then it's at half strength. Also start bottom water at that time. That's a good one. Jamie said she found seeds on Amazon, $10 a pack. Look at some of the seed companies. Maybe. So I think that's a good point. Thank you, Blue Collar. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Sadly, that original greenhouse we bought is struggling to hold up. We've put it through its paces, but that is a wonderful idea. And we'll see. Besides, I'm whispering. Besides, if that one goes, I'm going to have my husband build me one. But yes, very cool. Either that or a tree's going to come and take it down. There's one right behind it. But yes, great idea. Thank you. Hey, Alfonso Simental, which is AS Blind Maid Production. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day. I hear you're going to be getting like 3 feet of snow this weekend. So what do y'all start your seeds with? Like if you were starting out and you were to tell somebody, hey, this is the best way to start seeds, what would you say? And I'll start because I'll wait for you guys to type. And I know Gwen isn't a fan of them because she's had issues with them, but I really love the burpee trays with the rubber push-up bottoms. I really do like them. I also really like those pots that I showed last week, which were the ones from Dollar General and Dollar Tree. And you can get like 6 of them for $1.25, and I can wash them and use them every year. I also like to use recycle containers. And the reason why is once I up pot them from a small seed cell, then I leave them in there. So that's one of my big things. The other thing that we do is use the Schultz fertilizer because it's mild. And we use that every time we water. The only time I don't is if I'm in a rush to water and don't want to forget. But that helps to keep them nice and dark green. So I really like that. Blue Collar Homestead. The sun down here is taking its toll on our greenhouse. Panels are starting to get brittle. Mine too. Mine too. The funny part is I would have never paid new for that greenhouse, but getting it used, it was worth it. But I think we've had that 3 or 4 years now. I think 3 years I've grown in it, but I think we had it up the fall of the 4th year. So have fun, Ariella. Thanks for coming by. So what are some must-have things you have to start your seeds? That's what I'd love to know. What would you recommend to somebody who's just starting out? I know for me, it's the full spectrum grow lights. We got a deal on these. We actually added another one. We have a 4th one up there now. I think we bought a total of 6, and we've never used them all. Just never had to do that. So we have our 4th grow light, and it's simply a plastic banquet table that has pallet framing on the sides. Looks like heck, and then we have one long heat mat and the grow lights, and I love it. Let's see here. Blue Collar says we use red solo cups, never have to up pot them. Our seed rack fits 192 cups. Been using the rack for 3 years now. It's our first video. Yeah, go check out Blue Collar's video for our seed setup. It's pretty sweet. I fell in love with it when I saw it, and that's how I met these guys. Seed starting soil. Absolutely. Although I will say I ran out of seed starting soil, and I'm using compost in my little ones. We'll see how it goes. So seed starting soil is a good one, Jamie and Heather. And Jamie said heat mats and grow lights. Awesome. A grow light can use fish aquarium lights. Interesting. I didn't know that. Thanks, Gwen. I'll have to check that out. Awesome. Deborah says, I don't need none of that. Just a solo cup, seed starting mix, and put them outside. Sure, in your warm climate, that absolutely makes sense. I need more than the solo cup because I find the first year I did them in the solo cup in February, and they got too large for the solo cup. And, excuse me. So I found a little bit bigger gets me through, because I think last year I planted everything out before I went to Texas. So that's really cool. Knowing how to harden off. This is so important, but in my opinion, the worst part of it all. But so important. So how do you harden off your seeds? If you want to type that in the chat. Temperature is super important for germination. Yes. I like to put saran wrap over the top of my seeds, not tightly, but just to keep the moisture in, and it does a really good job. And then once I see them all coming up, I take it off. Gwen uses a shop light from Harbor Freight for $20. Awesome. Heather says, I'm making my own with pear moss, perlite, and slow release fertilizer, but that might be too much for someone new. It's a good idea, though. Hello, Denise Basella. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. I ended up buying seed starter mix that was actually 2 nice size bags, and I thought it would get me through all of it, but it didn't. But that's because I planted 40 million tomatoes. And so this one actually had cocoa core in it, but it wasn't the brick cocoa core where you add the water and it expands. So it was pretty, I think it did a good job. Morning, Bluetiful. Hey, Blue. Hope you're doing well. I harden off my starts on my front porch. They are protected some by the roof, but get sun and some wind. That's awesome. Heather says taking outdoors, shaded area for like 4 hours. Next day, same, but more hours, due for 3 to 4 days. Awesome. Yes, and having a fan on them really does help strengthen the stems. We have overhead ceiling fans, but before I thought to use these, well, tangled in my chair, I would have a fan blowing on them. But since we're living here, we've not, I think the first year we had leggy starts. After that, we didn't. Let's see. We've never hardened off our plants. We take them out of the rack and plant them. Weather here is pretty warm, though. That's awesome. See, now here's a funny for you. The first year we were here, it had been a while. I did some gardening in North Carolina, but not a lot, just some container gardens on our breezeway. And the last few years we were there, which is when we were in the house that had the breezeway, they literally had so much water, it was ridiculous, flooding like none other. So when I got here, I was so proud. I went outside, put my starts out in the sun. You hear where this is going? Put my starts out in the sun, and within a half hour, they were all dead, burnt by the sun. And we're talking, it was spring in South Dakota. It wasn't 80 bajillion degrees. I thought it was funny. Everything died off. I had to replant it all. Let's see. Holman says we have great luck with the foam trays in our water bed, then up pot to solo cups. Then Carolyn starts hardening them off 1 hour and then double it each time. You guys are hardening off royalty, because like I put mine out there for like 3 days and I'm done. I can't deal with it anymore. And if they're out there longer, the only reason they are is because I didn't get a chance to plant them. Hardening off drives me insane because there's just so many of them. Crazy. But yeah, hardening off is so important. You can ruin everything. I can't believe how warm it is in this house right now. We were in the 50s today and it's going to drop, but we have the stove on and it's like, that is the best start, Blue. Good deal. A signed book. What signed book you looking for? I don't have any books. I know she's joking, but I don't get it. We sit by a window, then start carting them outside a few hours a day as long as the temp's above 50. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If you guys have been here for a while, do you remember, was that last year that I carted the berries in and out all the time? Oh, it's crazy. And half of them died. My seeds are going in this week. I'm determined. LOL, trays in the greenhouse. My seed mix is last year's compost because, yeah, no, they don't really need nutrients. Lazy gardener. Excuse me. I already need to put up a shade cloth. It's hot. I bet, Deborah. I bet. We start a lot of plants for other people. That's awesome. Apparently, I did that this year unintentionally, but I'm super happy that it went to local folks because a lot of them were shocked that I started them in February. I can tell you 192 solo cups takes 13 to 14 bags of Jiffy Seed Start Mix. Oh, gosh, yeah. Oh, I was talking about the cookbook for Carla, because Carla last week talked about a cookbook, and I'll switch to that in a little while. It works, and I don't bother hardening off. They live or die. Mostly they live, and we have no issues. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when I hardened them off, they were very, very small. But I will say this. When I had those hydroponic tomatoes and I brought them all outside, I think one really struggled because I wasn't lifting it inside every night to harden them off. The rest survived. So I thought that was pretty cool. So what other seed starting tips would you offer to a new gardener that you think are so important to know so that we can share with them? I think it's really important. And if you're watching the replay, we've got all this stuff is in the chat, and it usually appears about 24 hours after the live has aired for the live chat to come back. So sometimes it's not available, but if you miss it, we've got it all there. We pot up into seedling pots one time, not playing the potting up 100 times game. Plants know what to do. It's their job. I find if I overthink it, things go bad. I'm with you. I up pot once, and I also try to toughen my starts, if that makes sense, toughen my plants. I try not to keep them soaking wet. I try to let them get a little bit dry so they get used to living in drought conditions, because I will water once a day. Start with a small variety and get good at each one before adding more varieties. Seed save, seed save. I need to get better at seed saving. I am not good at it. But you really have. I have Googled all sorts of things about what are the best varieties for our zone, all that stuff, just to get an idea, you know. And last year they told me Moskvik and Tigerella. They were horrible. Purple Cherokee and Roma were the bomb. We will be using milk jugs to start peppers in from now on. We've never had peppers take off like these before. That's awesome. I'm so glad. That winter sowing really seems to work for folks in the South. And I know people in Tennessee who leave them outside and they thrive. I cannot believe how much stuff pops up. It's unbelievable. I did it. I wasn't impressed. They all don't germinate at the same rate, even though it's the same type of seed. Some take longer. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hardening off is a lot of work. Plants in, plants out. It's like, you don't up pot until they have at least 2 to 4 adult leaves. Good for you. I usually plant when they have the first set of adult leaves. And then I find that they bloom like none other. Like they just take off. We probably spend $400 to $500 a year on seeds and garden supplies, but we usually get probably $2,000 plus of fresh veggies. So worth it. And the flavor is way better than store-bought. Absolutely. Yeah, Romas thrive here. They thrived here last year. So I think that that's really important. You're already getting blooms on your peppers, Holmes. Good job. That's awesome. I love salsa too, Heather. Welcome back, Gwen. Knowing how deep to start seeds. That's important too. And I will say, I try to follow the guidelines. I'm not always great at it. I've never had a problem with a seed not starting when it was deep. Whoops. So, how long each variety takes to sprout and when harvesting is. Yes, that's important too. That's very important. Heather's all full of ideas. I love it. Knowing what your plans are for the food you grow. Super important. Only grow what you're going to eat. And if you found that you gave a ton of zucchini away one year, consider planting less zucchini so you have more food for your family, or consider planting the same amount of zucchini and sharing with your neighbors again. I put mine on the porch, and the only reason they get moved is it's going to get cold. Yep. Good night, Holman's Homestead. Holman's Homestead, I know you got to go over and check on Mom, but just real quick, and I'll go into it in detail later, but if you're interested in participating in a homestead cookbook with Carla at Living a Robe Life, just send me your email. That's it, and I'll send you the details, and you can decide if you want to be a part of it or not. If you don't, understood. Have a good weekend. I hope you guys feel better. Let's see. I missed something. Seems like a lot, but really it isn't. Read what videos, okay? Yep, my plans are not eat as much as I can fresh. Oh, or eat as much as I can fresh, and the rest do what costs the least amount of effort and standing to process. Yes. Thanks, Holmans. When you start your seeds, read the back of the label. Count weeks backwards from germination rate on when to start seeds indoors. Great tip. You guys are awesome at this. Hey, Sarah, Rise and Swine Farm. Good to see you. I've been watching some of Anne of All Trades, The Lazy Gardener. Yeah. If I didn't have to start mine in February, that would make me a happy woman, quite honestly. But, you know, you can't have it all, right? Our garlic this year is huge, and it's not ready to harvest till June. We have hundreds of garlic plants, thinking it's going to be a massive harvest. Wow. That's awesome. Hey, Ark Wildman. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. That's awesome. I hope you get a good harvest. Knowing how many days in your growing zone you have to grow plants. Yes. So, for example, you know, if you have 110 days or let me say this, you have 85 days and quinoa takes 120, it's not going to work, folks. Blue said, I should have started some of mine in January. Pfft, I like to live on the edge. Started me some scorpion peppers today. Good for you, Ark. That's awesome. Hey, Charles. Hope you're doing all right. Fallen Arkansas veterans, sending our love to you as always. Let's see here. Succession planting. So, Heather, talk more about succession planting. I think that's really important. And I will give an example while you're typing, and I know that truly succession planting, isn't it more so about having the same crops, you know, like having lettuce, cutting it, having more lettuce at that time, so it's constantly going. For me, I harvested onions last year and I planted lettuce. So I thought that was awesome. I'm glad to hear, Charles. I'm sending you a big hug, my friend. I use my frost dates. Our last frost date is May 10th, and the first one is November 10th. Plenty of time for everything, and then get some in for winter growing and crops too. Awesome. I save seeds, but I don't do all of the fermenting the seeds. I just put on a paper towel and let them dry. Thanks, Charles. Sorry, guys, got choked up. So let's see here. After you know how many days to grow in your zone, I may be able to plant a week or two after the first planting. Charles, no apologies. We love you, friend. Hopefully an eclipse won't affect everyone's plants. Oh, it won't. That's silly. Let's see here. Good night, Deborah. Thanks for being here. Sorry, guys. All right. Charles has a video on his channel. It'll explain it all. I don't want to get into it now because I want him to have peace right now. Know your garden area. Place plants so they get the right amount of sun. Don't plant a tomato plant in front of a shorter plant to block the sun. That's a really good point. I believe I did some of that my first year here, and I should have known better. Tanny just said, get some trays ready. We're planning on Sunday. He does say the right things. I want to learn more about planting during the moon phases. Yeah, the almanac is really good about that. Those are really good points. Awesome points, you guys. Any other last minute tips for starting seeds for newbies? Oh, there we go. And knowing if it is determinate or indeterminate makes a huge difference in what you need for support on tomatoes. Oh, yeah. Heather said, good compost. Make sure animal poo has not been treated with vaccines or herbicides. Just dig in and do it. Hey, Barb, Barb's Country Home. Hope you're doing well. And last one, fencing is very important around here. Without it, animals would eat everything. No kidding. No kidding. Fencing is really important. Really important. Place chili seeds in black tea for 24 hours before planting. That's as fancy as I get. It works so and breaks down the outer coating to help germination. Nice. Consistent watering schedule. So important. Rabbit fencing. Now I have to deal with squirrels, so a squirrelinator trap. I love that. I love that. Okay, sorry guys, I got this now. All right, so let's switch gears. Last week, if you were here, oh, wait a minute, Heather's got one. Pelleted poo can be used to fertilize right away. Yes, learn the difference between hot manure and cold manure. Rabbit and goat are pelleted and can be used right away. Cow manure, horse manure, and chicken manure have to wait. Wear gloves when dealing with certain hot peppers. Nice. And banana coffee tea for fertilizer. Banana coffee tea. I've heard of like the banana stuff, but that's funny. So awesome, Gwen. So let's switch gears just because we've got about yeah. It's my love for Charles at Fallen Arkansas Veterans. He's a very dear friend, and my heart hurts for him. So, Carla's cookbook. Carla last week was in here and talked about putting together a cookbook. And she sent me the details the other day. And so if you are interested, hold on. Whoops. Oh, no worries, River Rat. You need to take care of what you need to. I hope nothing overflows. Thanks, Annette. I wear my heart on my sleeve. What can I tell you? So here is my email. If you are interested in the cookbook, yes, thanks, Barb. If you're interested in being a part of Carla's Homestead Cookbook, I want you to send me an email, and I'm going to put it on the screen. I need tissues on my desk, dang it. There's my email. Send me an email and just put in the title cookbook, and I'll have your email address. And that way I can send you the email when I compose it. I didn't have a chance to get it done here tonight. So if you want to be a part of this, Carla's going to put it together. She'll need like the recipe, pictures, stuff from you. And she's just going to put it out there for a bunch of us to enjoy. So if you want to be a part of that project, email me and I will get it together. And anyone who's watching the replay, I know Sarah at A Homesteading Hustle is interested. So if you guys are interested, I'll probably post something too, but just send me an email so we get an idea. Take care, Annette. I hope calving is smooth tonight for you guys. Hey, Ariella. Yeah, it sounds really, really cool. She put it together for her family. So she was going to put one together for us. So I thought that was really neat. So just send me an email. I think it's going to be a, like not a printed one, but one you could print out. It's going to be like a file with electronic file with several pages is her plan. It won't be a video. But I thought that would be really, really cool. The other thing I want you to do is to go over to Charles at Fallen Arkansas Veterans, his latest video, and send him love and prayers. I'll leave it at that. River Rat, if you look on the screen, my email is right there. You can probably take a snapshot of it or a screenshot if you're on your phone. Hey, welcome to my Cape Cod life. Good to see you. But I can put it here again in the chat to make life easier. Sorry for the sniveling. But yeah, if that's a project you want to be a part of, let me know. And I do want to mention, if anybody is watching the replay and has questions about starting seeds or anything like that, and you need more information, feel free to leave a comment on this video or also email me. I'd be happy to help. So we got a few more minutes left. What are you guys up to this weekend? I'm curious. I will be painting tomorrow. I have another sip and paint. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with friends and painting another picture in a different place. So that'll be really cool. Has everyone started seeds by now? I'm curious. I know Gwen's got hers on the ground. River Rat's got some started. I know Blue was just talking about hers. Hopefully we will have baby goats and a baby horse this weekend. That would be super exciting. That would be super exciting. Jamie is doing yard work, maybe plant in my raised beds. Awesome. Blue Collar said, concrete work, new garage build coming soon. Very fun. Barb's going to be out planting. Barb probably be out harvesting. Good deal, Blue. I think it just came across. Lots of gardening this weekend for milk and honey. Many seeds for my Cape Cod life. Broke Cowgirl said her corn is 6 inches tall already. That's incredible. Hubby's going to a farm auction. I am super envious. I love those. My favorite one that I went to was the one that I went to where I got the chicken waters and stuff. And I took you guys along. Hubby's going to a car show. Awesome. Cow Emporium said, thanks, Carla. That's awesome. These people who live in the tropics. Yeah, we don't. Hope you guys don't get too much snow. It is what it is. It won't last long. So I'm more worried about the wind, just because the ground is not frozen. It'll be wet. I don't want trees coming down. That's all. I prefer to take them down ourselves. We still have to finish that project. We couldn't even finish it now because we can't fix the pens until we take down the rest of the trees. My favorite one Yogi Hollow went to was when Ryan got his tractor. Yes, I love that one too. And the best part about that one was he was being cheap and wasn't going to get it. And I told him, keep going, keep going, keep going. Because he needed the tractor. It's been a game changer. Frozen north up here with 80-mile-per-hour winds. If I put corn in already, it'd be horizontal. Gwen says they don't do live farm auctions here. All are online. Ours are online. I don't know if there are ones in person, but from the company we go, they're online, and then you go pick up. So it was the one that I picked up stuff that was already won. But very cool. Anybody else want to share what they're doing this weekend before we head out? Again, sorry for the sniffles, but I'm one of those people. I'm human. It's reality. You get to see all of me. Tractor makes a huge difference. I can't imagine being without one. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the attachments we got are going to help us so much with that we got at auction are going to help us so much with projects. I mean, being able to chip up the pine debris is just been so much easier. You know. Good night, Jamie. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and she might go live tomorrow afternoon. Ariella said, I love that video, Lisa, when Ryan moved the barn with the mower. Yeah, that was great. It's still sitting in the back. I don't know that we'll be doing that again, bringing it back up, but we seem to talk more and more about a large barn. I don't know if it's going to happen, though. Gwen said we bought way too much in the last couple of months from farm auctions, and they have 2 more to go. Still processing veggies before it all goes off. Oh, that's awful. I hate that. Babysitting her new 12 baby chicks. Congrats, Barb. They're beautiful. And Blue Collar uses their tiller on the tractor all the time. That's awesome. We have a little electric tiller that we had bought before before we bought the tractor, and we just use that every year, and it works really well. But we've got the chipper, and we have another attachment which is going to make things easier, and I'll show it to you guys. My chicks are getting so big. How exciting. How exciting. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay safe, have fun, stay warm, stay dry, whatever the weather is by you. Got my post for the goat's pen and most of the fencing. That's awesome, River Rat. I hope the river goes down for you. Yeah. Yeah, no, it is a good idea, Ariel. It is. But we're actually talking about building a real one. Not a real one, you know what I mean? A large, durable one. So that would be fun. Well, thank you everybody so much for coming. I appreciate you being here. Much love to you guys. And email me if you're interested in the cookbook idea. And have a great weekend. Take care. Bye.